Birmingham City Jail, I came across your recent statement calling our present activities unwise and untimely. Seldom, if ever, do I pause to answer criticism of my work or ideas, but since I feel that you are a man of genuine goodwill, I would like to answer your statement in what I hope will be patient and reasonable terms.
I think I should give reason for my being in Birmingham. Since you have been influenced by the argument of outsiders coming in, I have the honor of serving as president of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference.
Several months ago, our local affiliate here in Birmingham invited us to be on call to engage in a nonviolent direct action program, if such were deemed necessary. When the time came, we lived up to our promises.
Beyond this, I'm in Birmingham because injustice is here.
I cannot sit idly by that lantern, not be concerned about what happens in Birmingham.
Injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere.
We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality tied in a single garment of destiny.
Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. Never again can we afford to live with a narrow outside agitator idea. Anyone who lives inside the United States can never be considered an outsider.
One of the basic points of your statement is that our acts are untimely.
Frankly, I have never yet engaged in a direct action movement that was well-timed. For years now, I've heard the word wait. This wait has almost always meant never.
Justice too long delayed.
Is justice denied?
We have waited for more than 340 years for our God-given constitutional rights. The nations of Asia and Africa are moving at jet-like speed toward the goal of political independence, and we still keep at horse and buggy based on the meaning of a cup of coffee at a lunch.
I guess it's easy for those who have never felt the stinging dart of segregation to say wait.
But when you see hateful policemen curse, kick, brutalize, and even kill your black brothers and sisters,
When you see the vast majority of 20 million Negro brothers smothering in an airtight cage of poverty in the midst of an affluent society,
When you suddenly find your tongue twisted and your speech stammering, as you seek to explain to your 6-year-old daughter why she cannot go to a public amusement park on television, and see tears welling up in her eyes when she is told Funtown is closed for colored children,
and see the depressing cloud of inferiority begin to form in her little mental sky, she begin to distort her little personality by consciously developing a bitterness toward white people. When you have to concoct an answer from your 5-year-old son asking,
Daddy, why do white people treat colored people so badly? Then you will understand why we find it difficult to wait.
you express a great deal of anxiety over our willingness to break laws. One may well ask, how can you advocate breaking some laws and obeying others? The answer is found in the fact that there are only 2 types of laws. There are just laws and unjust laws. I would agree with St. Augustine that
An unjust law is no law at all.
all segregation statutes are unjust because segregation distorts the soul and damages the personality.
it gives a segregator a false sense of superiority.
And the segregated false sense of influence. Oppressed people cannot remain oppressed forever. The urge for freedom will eventually come. This is what happened. Something within has reminded him of his birthright of freedom. Something without has reminded him that he can gain it. My approach is being dismissed as an extremist. I must admit that I was initially disappointed in being so cavalier. But as I continued to think about the matter, I gradually gained a bit of satisfaction from being considered an extremist. Was not Jesus an extremist in love?
Love your enemy, bless them that curse you, pray for them that despitefully use you.
Was Amos not an extremist for justice? Let justice flow down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream. Was not Abraham Lincoln an extremist?
This nation cannot survive half slave and half free.
Was not Thomas Jefferson an extremist?
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
So the question is not whether we will be extremists, but what kind of extremists we will be.
Will we be extremists for hate?
Or will we be extremists for love?
Will we be extremists for the preservation of injustice?
Or will we be extremists for the cause of justice?
one day the South will recognize its real heroes. They will be the James Merediths, courageously and with a majestic sense of purpose, facing jeering and hostile mobs.
They will be old, oppressed women, symbolizing the 72-year-old woman of Montgomery, Alabama, who rose up with a sense of dignity and with her people decided not to ride the segregated buses and responded to one who inquired about her tiredness.
My feet is tired, but my soul is rested.
yours for the cause of peace and brotherhood.
Martin Luther